Good morning, everyone. So glad you could be here for our second People Strategy Power Hour today. Super excited to have you all here as a part of this. It's something that I'm really enjoying doing live, and also then sharing the recording, really helping entrepreneurs and small business owners at a time of year when we are so deeply involved in planning for 2024. This really is the culmination of our business planning cycle. It's the time of year when we are reflecting on how things have gone in our businesses in 2023. We're really looking at the stats and the information and the data. Did we achieve what we thought we were going to? Where did we excel? Where do we need to shift or change? And one of the most important pieces that we can change in 2024, particularly as our businesses grow and scale, is we can layer in a people strategy. And this is so important. If you were with me on December the 1st for the People Strategy Power Hour, we talked a lot about how critical having a people strategy is in order to grow and scale our business. And one of the things I've talked about over the past 2 weeks is that we actually strategize, right? We create the plan for our business, but do we really prepare to actually resource that plan? And that's what the people strategy really does. It allows us to be prepared. What we do is we analyze the business plan that we're creating right now for our next year or 2 years or 3 years. And then we really think about how we are going to prepare for that success, prepare to actually achieve all of those goals. And that's where people strategy comes in and becomes incredibly important. And it should be right alongside your marketing strategy. It should be right alongside your capital or your financing strategy, because all of those things are actually contingent on not only having enough or the right clients and customers, but also having the right people and the right team to execute on those other strategies. And so that's where the people piece just becomes so critical as we really move forward and grow in our businesses. And particularly for those of us that are seeing really incredible growth, we really have the big driven goals. The people strategy is critical to execute on that. So what I wanted to do today is, first and foremost, answer your questions. You can pop those into any of the chats. So we're live on Instagram, we're live on Facebook. Also be sharing this on YouTube so that you can review it if you have to duck out at some point. But if you have questions or comments, you can bring those live. I would love to talk those through right now today. Of course, if you cannot be live, if you're joining us later, you are absolutely welcome to send those directly to me. And I'll make sure that there's contact information available for you. And you can find me on any of those platforms, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course, LinkedIn. So what I wanted to do today, as those questions start to come in, is actually talk about the People Strategy Playbook. And if you're live with me on the Zoom and on Facebook, that link is shared for you. And I'll make sure those of you joining on Instagram that you get access to that as well. But the People Strategy Playbook is such an important piece of doing, creating this people strategy. So I wanted to show it to you, walk you through it. If you're on the Zoom, there's a link for you in the chat. If you're joining anywhere else, I'll make sure that you get a link as well. And the reason I designed this playbook is really to give every single one of you the opportunity to walk through the process of creating people strategy. Now, this is not an onerous process. I know for many of us that are entrepreneurs, me included, we start to talk about process, our eyes start to glaze over. But in this particular circumstance, it really walks you through many of the important things that you need to consider as you plan your people strategy for 2024. And a lot of this is the same as what I deliver when I have clients work with me in my VIP people strategy accelerators. And I do half day and full day sessions to really help entrepreneurs dedicate the time and the space to really creating this plan. When we do a half day, we come out with the plan. We start to think about how we might want to execute that. When we do a full day, we actually get into execution and we start to plan the tactics, which is really exciting because that's what makes this thing real, right? So let's talk a little bit about what this could look like. I'll share with you here what the link is to download that first and foremost, because that's actually important. So if you're joining me in Zoom, you can already see it. Sorry. What the link is to download that first and foremost, because that's actually important. So if you're joining me in Zoom, what the link is to download that first and foremost, because that's actually important. So if you're joining me in, there we go. You got double me for a minute. So I've shared that link in the Facebook Live, and I'm sharing that in the Zoom right now. You can actually see that link and you can open that up. You can have access and download the People Strategy Playbook right now. And then what I'm actually going to do live in the Zoom is I'm going to share with you what that People Strategy Playbook looks like so you can actually follow along with me. Okay. So one of the first things that we want to think about when we actually think about planning our people strategy is actually going back to some basics, which is really, really key. So thinking about defining your why, your purpose. So this is really thinking about why you're doing what you're doing, right? Why are you in business? What is your mission? And why is that important to you? What's your vision? What are you trying to create in the world? And again, why is that important? Why are you so passionate about that? So in this section, we ask questions like, what does success look like? Right? If really the business and the business strategy really come together in a meaningful way. What are those short-term and long-term goals? And it's important that we talk about the goals personally and the goals professionally, because for so many of us, our business is a really important, really big part of our life. So we want to consider how those two things are impactful together. And then we also want to think about what might be in the way. What might be some obstacles that we are encountering or we could in the future? Let's anticipate, let's get strategic about that. And then what more could you do to reach your goals? What else do you really need to be thinking about and focusing on? And when we put this together with that vision and that mission that we likely already have in our organization, or at the very least in our head, that's a very powerful place to be grounded in when we start to think about strategy. Of course, we need to bring into this values. And I talk a lot about values. They are the cornerstone of our business culture. And if you have more than one person working with you or for you, you have a culture in your organization, whether you recognize it or not. And so understanding your values is absolutely critical. Right? So really thinking about, what does your business stand for? Right? What's the most important and impactful things that your business delivers for others? What's important in your life? Again, really considering the personal pieces. What's really meaningful for you? And making sure the two things are aligned, because if you have personal values that aren't showing up in your business, or you have business values that really aren't aligned with what you do as a human, who you are, then it's deeply uncomfortable. It's going to make you feel miserable working. So making sure that those two pieces are actually aligned is really important. And then thinking about, when you have felt the most fulfilled or powerful in your business, that can really give you ideas and information, data about what some of those values are for you and the organization, right? What were you really doing when you felt awesome and joyful in your business? Again, important information that we want to think about. And then really embracing When you and your team are at your best, what does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that sound like? What's the experience of that when you are at your best, when you are delivering pure awesomeness for your team, for your clients, when things are really clicking? What does that look like? And then in the People Strategy Playbook, what I want you to do is look at all the things that you've written down. And I want you to circle the big words that really jump off the page. Those are a pretty good indication that there's a value there. And there's more work to be done. There's always more to learn about our values and how they inform the way, not only the way we show up in the world, but the way we work and the way we serve our clients. And so when we understand and are really articulate about those values, that's when we can really leverage them to underpin a really impactful strategy. So those are some of the most important first pieces in the People Strategy Playbook. They're work we do right off the bat in my VIP People Strategy Accelerators, because we got to get that right to have the foundation to build. Just makes sense. Awesome. So the next thing we want to do is really talk about a vision. What is key for us to really have in our brains and be thinking about, as we are moving through the creation of the strategy? It's just so important to be visualizing those pieces. And vision can take on a lot of different looks, right? It really, really can. And so it's critical that we think about that in a way that's meaningful for us, and that we bring together all of those pieces that, really underpin and articulate, really spell out why we are doing what we're doing, right? What are we trying to create? What's the change that we are trying to make in our universe? And that is so important so that we can actually, really understand then how we want to make that happen. Having a great vision, having a mission. And I know that so many of us, especially if we've come from a corporate background, we've seen the vision and mission statements inside of large organizations, and it just, it feels like hooey, right? It's up there on the pinned on the wall. It just means a whole lot of nothing. And that's really, really challenging for so many of us, because we actually forget that, that having a mission and a vision that is deeply personal, especially in our own small businesses, that can actually be critical to ensuring that we're really connected to what we're doing and who we're working with. The truth is, having a great mission and vision that we're really connected to, that we really embed every day, that we're always constantly thinking about in our business, that's part of what attracts clients to us, because they believe in that as deeply as we do. I would tell you it's also important in your people strategy, because the mission and the vision and even the values are some of the pieces that our team members, whether they're consultants or contractors, or whether we're actually starting to hire employees, those are the pieces that they are going to deeply believe and connect in as well. They also really start to define how we show up, how we perform, how we keep each other accountable. And so that's actually really critical to think about those in terms of our people strategy. Again, foundational pieces. Okay, so that's really the first important section of the People Strategy Playbook. So again, I have, or I will provide you a link to download that. You can work your way through it. This is the same process, just a little bit, more self-contained. Same process that I use in my VIP People Strategy Accelerator, half and full day sessions. And I do this with my clients. This is where we start. And so you can work through some of these pieces using the playbook. All right, so the second piece is getting into your business plan. Now, I don't call myself a business coach, because that's not actually what I do. But it is important in the context of our people strategy that we actually really understand and have a well-articulated business plan. Now, here's the thing. this starts to sound really complicated. And I can appreciate that. When I first started my entrepreneurial journey, the idea of writing a business plan was terrifying. I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what to do with it. And it sounded really complicated. But the truth is, a business plan does not have to be complicated. It has to be thoughtful. You need to put some time and effort into it, be a little intentional. But it's really about getting all of those things that are already in your head down on a piece of paper. And so what I've got in the People Strategy Playbook is a very simple construct, a very simple framework, right? So really thinking about, what do you sell, who buys it, who your customers are, what those success signals are. Like what does it mean in your business? What are the indicators that you're performing? Getting clear on some obstacles and challenges, and then really thinking about where the opportunities are and those timelines and what you are going to achieve in 2024. Really thinking all the way through those pieces as you anticipate what's going to happen in the next 12 months. So again, this business planning structure is not complicated, but it is intended to get you thinking about your business plan, because ultimately your people strategy is going to impact this business plan. That is the idea, is the two pieces are connected. The people strategy that we're designing here drives the business plan, because when you have the right people doing the right things and you lead them effectively and they are happy and producing, this is what makes your business plan come true. So we want to make sure that we have some clarity around that 2024 business plan. And then, of course, step 3, we can get into the people strategy. What we want to think about first is, who's on my team today? Who do I have access to right now? Who is on the bus with me? Because that's actually really, really important. Who do you have as players in your organization today? And again, for some of us, it might be contractors or consultants or fractional people. And that's really important that we think about all of those and the people that are actually employees. Then we can start to think about, because we've already done our business plan, who do we need to grow, right? If we have some pretty big goals next year, what kind of skills and experience are we going to need in order to deliver that, right? Who do we really need to be thinking about in terms of growth? Because ultimately, that's what's going to propel our business plan. That's what's going to create scalability. That is what's going to accelerate our revenue, right? So we can think about, again, skills and experience, but we can also think about fit. And when I say fit, that takes us back to the vision. Do they get it? Is it meaningful for them? The mission, do they feel compelled to help you create that? And the values, do they actually look at the world and place importance on the same things that you do, or the things that are important in your organization? And for many of us, again, it might be both. That's how we find the right people that will fit. And I will tell you unequivocally, in the 15 years that I have been working in HR and strategic talent management, you can have two people that have the same skills, the same experience, the same credentials, but the person that actually gets it, the person that feels it, the person that embraces it and is as passionate about it as you do, is actually going to deliver better work, because the alignment is there. So it's actually really important. And that's why we do that work first. We need clarity on that, so then we can know who we're looking for, right? We can really embrace the people that are going to be a great fit. And that we will use later when we start to talk about recruitment and our attraction strategy, right? Awesome. So once we have established those pieces, we need to think about when. So back to our business plan. We have some big, audacious goals. I know that you do. I do too. But we really, if we do a great business plan, we know when we're likely to be actioning those pieces to build the pieces around those goals. And we can think about when we're going to add the right person to the team to accelerate that success. And that actually is the secret sauce right there, because so many entrepreneurs and small business owners wait until it's too late. They wait until they absolutely are underwater. They're burning out. they're fed up, they're frustrated, and then they go to hire someone. And the truth is that very rarely works well for anybody, because then you are rushing the process. You're not thinking about the right fit. You're hiring simply for skill and experience. And often that results in a poor hiring choice. And so the strategic move inside of your business is to anticipate, to try and get out ahead of it. There's also, of course, financial implications here. You have to pay this person, whether they're a consultant or an employee. You need to be sure you have the revenue. Having said that, you may also need this person in your business in advance of the revenue, right? So how are you going to plan for that? How are you going to make a financial plan, right? That's actually going to help you do that. So this is really a critical step, is aligning when you need the talent to the business plan that you're looking to execute, right? And then from a very personal perspective, you need to think as a business owner, because I know that you're like me, you're doing a lot of the work. You are involved in the delivery. And it is incumbent upon us as leaders to actually step back and think about, okay, what is the work that I love to do? What am I really good at? What's the work perhaps that isn't my favorite, but it's something that needs to live with me? I need to have the ultimate accountability, and I really need to retain control and oversight of that. And then what's the work that I actually can delegate? What can I give away? What am I actually not any good at that someone else really needs to be doing? And I will tell you, one of those things for me is the bookkeeping. I did my own bookkeeping for a very long time. And in fact, I did not do a very good job of it, because guess what? I'm not actually a bookkeeper. And when my business was very small, it made sense because I really didn't have the resources to hire someone. But as my business has grown and become more complex, I am actually getting in the way. I was making a mess. I was making more mistakes, and it was taking me longer to actually do the work or then fix the mistakes than it was to actually just pay an expert to do it. And so I know sometimes it can feel very scary, and getting the timing in this is absolutely critical. That's why we want to create a people strategy, because then we can feel confident in our timing, we can feel confident in our revenue, and we can feel confident that we're hiring the right person. So this whole process is all about giving you as a business owner the confidence to create what you need to create, the confidence to do the things you need to do, and hire the people you need to do them so you can execute on your business plan next year. And one of the biggest pieces is, what are you going to keep? What are you going to delegate? And then how are you going to lead in that delegated space, right? Because when we give that to someone else, now we shift from being a doer to being a leader. And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but this is an important phrase. We manage tasks. We lead people. And so if we really want people to have ownership, if we really truly want to delegate and want them to do a great job, then we actually have to step out of the way and we have to lead. We cannot be the bottleneck. We have to stop touching it. So again, this is the really important work that I do during those VIP People Strategy Accelerator sessions, is we actually talk through that, because for some of us, including me, that can be really challenging. We're so passionate about these businesses. We're so involved. Hey, we've got big financial commitment here. Sometimes it's hard to let go. Okay. So these are some of the important pieces in your people strategy. They're absolutely key to making this, really work for you, and ultimately really accelerate that business plan to really achieve those goals. We hear so much about how we need to scale our businesses. Well, the truth is, if you're going to scale your business, you got to scale your leadership and you got to scale your team at the same time. That's why I designed the VIP accelerator program, was actually to get this done in a fairly short period of time, in 3.5 hours in the morning or 6.5 hours as a full day. We get to it, and that's what this playbook was designed to do, was to help you with that. So I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute, and I am going to see if I can't. Okay, sharing options. I need to stop sharing. I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to see if there are any comments at all. I absolutely want to answer all of your questions today. So please don't hesitate to pop things in the chat. Would absolutely love to hear from any of you that have any questions. I'm just going to check on Instagram. Yes, tech issues, my friend Heather, always the tech issues. There's absolutely no doubt about it. Those are always so much fun. If you have any questions, you want to pop them into any one of the chats. If you're on Instagram, happy to answer those questions there. If you're here with me live on Zoom or on Facebook, I'm just going to look over my shoulder here for a minute. Awesome. I'm so glad that you all had an opportunity to join me today. This is a really critical topic, especially at this time of year. And it's something we don't talk nearly enough about as business owners, that this people strategy is the game changer. It's the secret sauce. And here's the reason why is in all of our small businesses, okay, when we have one wrong hire, when we have one person that doesn't fit or doesn't deliver, it has enormous ripple effects. It can be incredibly painful. It can cost us clients. It can cost us contracts. It costs us money. And so for me, that's why this is so important to bring to the forefront. It's so important that there's this people strategy playbook that you can download and use all on your own. If you don't feel like the VIP accelerator is for you, that's super cool. I want you to have that because this is really critical. And when it goes wrong, it can be catastrophic. And I hear that from business owners, from entrepreneurs all the time. They come to me and say, I have made some bad hires in the past. I've brought some people into my organization that have let me down, that have left me in the lurch, that have actually created more work for me. I've paid the money and then I ended up doing more work. Like that doesn't make sense. And the truth is, it actually doesn't have to be difficult. It just needs to be intentional. You just need to give it some time and some thought. Again, right now, as you're doing your business planning for 2024, it's really important that you're giving the team you need the thought it requires. And people strategy does not have to be complicated or complex. We just walk through the framework of my process. Right? We just did that in about 30 minutes. Now, we didn't fill in all the questions and we didn't talk it all the way through, and we haven't actually built the plan and the strategy. But in essence, that's the work that needs to be done. And it just needs your thought process. And for some, it needs some expert help. And that is exactly what I am here to do. That's what the VIP Accelerator is for, is to give you the time and attention and the thoughts that you need. Because for so many of us, we have built these businesses and we built them with our bare hands. We built them from the ground up. We know everything about them inside out and backward. But the truth is, in order for them to grow, we actually need to find the experts that do those things. So I'll give you another personal example. I've been doing my own social media for years. And when I first started my business 5-6 years ago, I really wanted to learn. It was important to me that I knew what to do inside of these social platforms. And it was important that it was my voice, right? That it was me speaking. And I needed to develop that, is the truth. I needed to understand what that looked like from a perspective of high voltage leadership and from Lindsay. But in all reality, it's become so complex that I need someone who's an expert at that to help me hone and craft that message. And I don't feel like we've perfected it yet. We're getting closer. We have a great plan for next year, but I needed the right person who could really help me embrace what my voice was, what those key brand messages are. This is clearly one of them, that I really want to get out there, and what my expertise, how I wanted to really display that, how I wanted to share that with people and demonstrate how I can help, how I can be a guide and a support. And I really needed an expert to do that. And so I had to step back. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't do anything with my social media anymore. In fact, it's me showing up quite a bit. But the truth is, when it comes to the more sophisticated pieces, I need help. And I needed the actual marketing strategy. That's what's been so key for me, is actually developing that strategy, giving it the forethought, really creating something that actually connects to that vision that I have. And that's where strategy comes in and is so valuable. And the people strategy does exactly the same thing. It really helps us connect the boots on the ground, as they say, right? The people rowing the boat, all the way to the vision that we're trying to create, the mission that we have in this world with our organizations, right? Those are the critical pieces that help take those are the individuals that work in our organizations every day, including us, and actually make that vision come true for everyone, including our clients. And I often say that the equation is very simple. If we have the right people doing the right things, and we're doing a great job leading them, and they're happy, they are fulfilled in their work, they feel good about what they create, then we have happy employees that make our clients happy. And when our clients are happy, they bring us more work because they love the work we do, and they bring us more clients through referrals. And when that happens, our business thrives, our revenue grows. The growth happens in the most beautiful and flourishing way. Now, that's not to say there aren't problems along the way, and there are. But the truth is, the equation is quite simple. It's in the execution that it becomes a little challenging. Well, when we have a well-articulated business plan that is complemented by a people strategy, so we know who and when and how we're going to add to our team at the right time in the right way, that makes the growth much more manageable, much easier, and much you're better able to anticipate, right? And isn't that what we all want to be as the CEO of our own business? We actually want to be able to anticipate, right? Because we know we're going to get curveballs. That goes without saying. Every day is a school day as an entrepreneur. We're always learning something. And often those learnings come because something crazy has happened. We've gotten that curveball. But if we have the right strategies in place, including a people strategy, then we can be better equipped and more nimble when those curveballs come. So I'll give you an example. This is a client that I've had recently. She has experienced astronomical growth in her business. And the truth is, within pretty short order, she started to really experience some burnout. And that is so common, I think, for many of us. The clients that I work with, the networks that I'm involved in, the colleagues that I have, man, we have all had that experience with burnout, some of us more than others. And the truth is, we had already crafted a people strategy for her. So when she came to me and said, I am overwhelmed and underwater, we went back to what we created and we looked at, okay, where do we need to add someone to your team? And who does that need to be? And how do they need to operate? Again, let's think about what needs to be on your plate, business owner. What are the things that you really need to do or you really love to do? Because both of those things are important. Okay, what are the things that it actually makes sense for someone or someones to do? Right? So that could be some administrative pieces that could go to a virtual assistant. Okay. And in this case, that was actually not it. We didn't need a virtual assistant. The administrative stuff was not the problem. And that's a message we hear a lot. Just get a VA and it'll solve all your capacity issues. That's not always the answer. For this client, the answer was very much on the customer service side. We needed someone to step in and start managing some relationships for her because she owned all of them. All of the clients were coming to her. And as her client list grew, she actually couldn't be available. She just didn't. One thing we can't do is manufacture time. And she just could not have enough hours in the day and still eat and sleep and service all her clients. So the answer was not to hire a VA. The answer was to hire a customer service expert, someone who she could start to transition client relationships to or could take on the new client relationships. Right? So that's really important. We actually need to custom design the solution. That's what our people strategy helps us do. Even if we have to come back to it in moments where we've gotten a curveball, it gives us some indication of what that might look like and how we might roll that out. And the best part about these VIP accelerators that I do, the half and the full day, is that when we get a full day together, we actually get into how do we create a plan around your people and how do we get into some execution. So we start to build your recruitment strategy. We start to talk about what those processes are. We start to think about not just the who, but the when and then the how we are going to execute that, how we are going to find the right person. Where are they? What do they do? How do we attract them? Right? Because we may have to go to market. We may not have someone readily available in our team and our network. We may actually have to advertise. So we need to create a job description that's compelling, that really not only speaks to, again, the role or the skills and experience, but the vision and the mission and the values, how you do work. And that's your culture, right? And when we include that in a job description, man, we get the right people because they read that and they think that's a culture. I want to be there. I want to belong there, right? And when we create spaces of belonging in our organizations, people deliver for us. They do really great work and they don't have to be asked for it. So all of those pieces are important in our people strategy. They are absolutely critical to how we create a team and a culture that really generates top quality work, really, creates spaces where people feel joyful and fulfilled in what they're doing. Because I happen to believe that people want to do great work. I know some might call me naive. I know I might get some comments and some static, but I do believe that most people actually want to do great work, but they want to do meaningful work. They don't want to do shit jobs. They don't want to do stuff that nobody cares about. They don't want to create PowerPoints and reports and things that nobody actually reads. They want to do work that actually adds value. And they want to do that for you inside your business, especially if you attract the right human. So we create cultures, spaces where people feel like they belong, they feel connected, they feel dialed in, they feel like, yeah, that vision that business owner is creating, I can connect with that. I can feel that. That's when they're going to deliver for you. That's what a people strategy will help you create, is that space in your business where your team, whether they're a tiny little team of 3 or 4, or they're a big team of 100 or 200 or 1,000, all of that is critical to creating spaces where people do great work. So if there are any other questions, please fire them in. I'm just going to flip over and check. If you have any questions at all at any point, you are absolutely welcome to send me a message, send me a DM on any of the platforms where we connect. I would love to answer those for you. I would love to connect. And know that I am already booking VIP People Strategy Accelerator sessions into January. And if that's something that you are interested in, please connect with me or check out my webpage, my website, highvoltageleadership.ca. And you will find those VIP accelerator sessions on there. You can learn more about the work we do. Please download the People Strategy Playbook. I know you'll enjoy working through it. And if you have any questions at any point along the way, all you have to do is reach out. Thank you again for joining me today live. It's an absolute pleasure to do these sessions. And most importantly, I hope you all have a safe and absolutely wonderful holiday season, whatever you're celebrating at this time of year. There's so many different things to celebrate. I hope that you enjoy that time with your family and you get some rest and relaxation so you're ready to roll in 2024. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Bye now.